sophisticated here.
Yeah,
We're top class. I mean,
you're a legitimate media
yeah,
company.
yeah. The Simple Coach multimedia global empire is sort of
There
where
you
I'm
go.
pining for. Me, Rupert Murdoch. We all travel in the same circles.
Of
Um,
course, of course.
so anyhow, all right. Hey, Eric, EJ, thank you very much again for joining me. I am excited to talk about sort of the where it stands results of week two's EJ pool, and yeah, so let's hop right to it.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe I would just give you all of Cookie's selections, and then you'll know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I've kneecapped him. Did you know
Okay.
that?
Oh,
Like
no, I did not know that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've sent. I'm a Jersey boy, so I know some people who know people.
You know a guy.
If you know what I
You know a
mean.
guy. Yeah.
And we're taking care of Cookie right now. I don't think we
right.
need to worry about him. Cookie, that's a joke. I'm just whoever you are. That's a joke.
Speaking of jokes, did you see we got a mention from the St. Lawrence boys on
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
board? Yeah.
yeah. And then they were like, "Well, they are spot on."
Right.
I thought that was brilliant. I was
That
laughing
was
like,
that
"Oh,
was
some
so funny.
shade." Oh, that's awesome. That's we
Geez. Well,
are we are
we'll talk about
YouTube
that.
influencing,
We are.
Eric. We are
We are.
YouTube influencing.
We have 40, what I say, 46 people this week. We
Yeah.
got 46 people who are hanging on every word we have to say for the next 15 minutes.
God forbid.
All right, let's
All
jump
right.
into it. Wisconsin, North Park. Wisconsin 50% win, North Park 37, and a draw 13.
13. This is at Eau Claire? I can't remember.
It's at North Park.
It's at North Park.
It's at North Park, and they're 37%.
Yeah, that's a
So
little. Hmm.
lack of confidence or just more or less a crapshoot. I mean,
Yeah,
37-50 is not a big difference.
yeah, yeah.
I thought maybe we'd see a little bit higher in North Park. Maybe people are waiting to see, them break out to see what they
Yeah,
actually have
yeah,
this year.
yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one, but it wasn't. It's not. There's some shocking ones for me. That wasn't
Yeah.
a shocking one.
That was not a that was
No,
not it. That's for sure.
that was
I
not it.
actually,
No.
and you know what? This is I think says more about Eau Claire than it does about North Park, because Eau Claire is really effective. And has been playing really effective soccer. They get goals.
Yeah,
And so I
yeah,
think it's more, hey, we know, like, known quantity Eau Claire. North Park still, they're clearly
right,
not at the level they were 2, 3 years
right,
ago, but
right. And
so
and I'm looking at the scores here. It's funny. Most of it's most every score in every game is like 2-1.
yeah,
A couple 3-1s, whatever. But there's a couple selections here. Wisconsin 3-1, North Park 3-1,
yeah,
North Park 3-0,
yeah,
Wisconsin 3-1. I mean, it flip flop. You
yeah,
you're either really high on North Park or you're high on
yeah,
Wisconsin.
yeah.
So we'll see
We'll
what
have to
happens
come
there.
up with
But
jokes about the Eau Claire Blue Golds and or the North Park. We'll have to mock them about something. I just don't know
I'm going to
what
stay away
yet.
from that one. I'm going to stay away from
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
one. Game two. This one was a little surprising.
This surprises me.
Kenyon Hopkins.
Yeah,
Hopkins 48%. Kenyon 22%.
yeah.
And then a draw at 30.
30.
So I guess I was expecting to see a little bit more parity there. Maybe, 30, 30, 30 type thing.
Yeah.
But Hopkins at 50%, 48, 50%, is interesting.
But you know what I find? I think in my world this is a draw. I think
Yeah.
like and I don't what I think and versus what I end up putting in scores. I have no idea. Sometimes I just sort of do them.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
I am impressed by both teams. Like, I think
Yeah.
both of those teams are top five teams,
Yeah.
and easily the easiest outcome is a draw. Both teams can score. Both are disciplined. Both play really nice ball. I have a hard time saying one or the other is going to be the outright winner, which is why I look at this. I'm like, man, the conviction by which you say Johns Hopkins is going to win, or most say like
Yeah.
almost 2x what Kenyon's chances
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
that surprises me.
That's I say. This was to me. This was 33%, 33%,
Yeah,
33%.
yeah,
It could go anywhere.
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
Somebody's got this game 3-0 to Kenyon, and someone's got this game 3-1 to Hopkins, and then everybody else is kind of in the middle
I
somewhere.
think if it does end up something like that, it's because Hopkins, or I guess, is basically so stretched because they're looking for a goal, and Kenyon is able to just take advantage and then
Yeah.
completely destroys them, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that's if you're going to get three, that's how it's going to happen. It's not going to be 3-0. I don't think it would be 3-0 or 3-1. You know, in the first half, I just don't. I
Right.
don't see that. I don't see that.
Right.
So.
I mean, is this a 0-0 game potentially, or is somebody definitely getting one?
Good question. I think they're both capable. So if I was going to say, I'd say a 1-1
One
draw.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're
Okay.
both. I don't. From the games that I watch, I don't think either. I don't think people realize like how good, at least in my mind. Again, this is my
Right.
own crazy mind. Like how good both teams are. Like
Yeah.
really,
Right.
really. It's. I'd say. I mean, I did something. I'm working on a quick video just on my impressions of the first week, and I have my top. I basically said who are the top teams I've watched. I watched like close to 50 games on the
Right.
men's
Right.
side. The two of the top six teams, Kenyon and Johns Hopkins,
Right.
that I've watched so far.
Well, I mean that's always going to be the case too because they're always very good and they
Yeah.
play nice soccer.
Hmm.
So you're always going to get that impression
Yeah.
out of them.
No, but I'm like I'm putting their like legit national championship contender caliber. Like that's how they're
Right.
I thought Hopkins dismantled Mary Washington was a masterclass. And surprised me, right? Like so anyhow. And Kenyon the same way how John Carroll is a very difficult team to play and they stuck with it and scored the winning goal in 4 minutes left or 5 minutes left or something like that. And I think they are much better than I realized they were. So anyhow.
All right.
Okay. Next up.
Third game. Speaking of your Jersey boys, so if somebody in Rowan knows a guy who knows a guy, they're coming after everybody.
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 Everybody's going to be hurt by this weekend.
Everybody's going to be hurt by this weekend. F&M Rowan. F&M 80%.
Just
A draw 13. Rowan 7.
I think that's disrespectful.
I don't know if anybody at Rowan watches this, but if they do, this is like bulletin board
Lord,
material.
yeah, no chance. Like that is effectively. I don't know what margin error. I'm not smart enough to like. Wait, what's the margin of error? Like. But this is like margin of error stuff. Like you're within the margin of error to win. Like that's the best you got. Like, and you might have no chance at winning, right? Like that's how close. Like it's like effectively zero.
I don't understand the disrespect for Rowan here.
Yeah.
Rowan, they only lost 4 games last year.
Yep.
2 of them to Montclair.
Yep.
And 1 of them to Washington College.
Yeah.
And they've been in the tournament. They've been to the second or third round in like 4 of the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Like this is a good team.
Yeah.
That just is not getting any respect.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I think if they, and granted, I mean, they were away. It's their first game, Salisbury. If they win Salisbury, and then they dismantled. I just watched this. I watched the St. Mary's game.
The St. Mary's game
where they won 6-1, and you're like, these guys got a lot more game than you realize.
Did you watch any of the Salisbury game? I did
watched
not.
The
but
first half,
I looked
it
at the
was
stats.
0-0.
I looked at the stats, and looking at the stats, they dominated that game.
Yeah.
They had like 17 shots.
Yeah.
And they just didn't score.
Yeah. I
I
didn't
don't
see the
know.
goals because I only watched
Right,
it like at some
right,
point. It's like otherwise, man, I'd be really nuts. I will usually watch the first half to see how things develop, and I would have given them. Oh, this is just a matter of time.
right. Okay,
Like they just need a couple more. They just need another break, and it's going to be. They're going to open the floodgates, and they're going to win it. And that was sort of my initial sense, and that's why I just tuned out. I'm like, I'm not going to watch that because I know the outcome, and then lo and behold, that. But then they turn around, like I said, and they play Mary's, and
right,
what they should have done against Salisbury, they do against St. Mary's,
right.
and
Yeah,
6-1. So I
yeah.
think it's going to be
I
tighter than. And I'm not
80,
saying
80,
FNM is not that
80%.
good, right? Like they're 1-0-1 or something like
What's
that.
F? Who F and M? You
FNM,
saying
yeah,
F and M? Yeah, 1-on-1, and I mean they're playing without. At least they did their first two games. They're playing without Oscar Horowitz, who was their
yeah,
All-American striker. If he's not there,
yeah,
that's a big difference.
yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah,
I thought this was tremendously insulting to
yeah,
Rowan,
yeah.
but we'll see. Maybe
We'll see.
everybody's right. Yeah,
Especially tying Lynchburg, which I look at Lynchburg and Rowan, and they're different. But I'm like, yeah, I can kind of sort of put them on the same level. Like if I'm gonna, they're just the Virginia Rowan, and and Rowan's the Lynchburg in New
fair.
Jersey. Like
Right,
sort of
right.
soccer wise, they strike me as a lot of similarities. And they, F&M tying Lynchburg. I'm like, how do you not give
I
Rowan
mean,
a better
everybody's got
chance?
it a fairly close game. It looks like.
Yeah,
There's a 3-1 in here. There's two 3-1s. Um, but everything. Again, two
yeah,
one, one
yeah,
nothing type thing.
yeah,
A lot of two nothings actually. It looks
yeah.
like a lot of two nothings for F&M. I'd be surprised by that, but we'll see.
Okay, next one is let's talk about NESCAC, baby.
NESCAC. Here we go. Tufts Williams at Williams. Williams has a 9% chance of winning this game. 48% draw.
Yeah,
43% to Tufts. I,
yeah,
I think that's fair. Maybe a little bit more on Williams, maybe 15% range. But I think a draw, 50% draw, and 43% Tufts is fair. I don't have a strong opinion that this is unfair.
So I'll say this, and I'm a huge fan of Coach Desatel, which is probably why I watched Tufts and I watched them play MIT, and I think this might be a little generous, the 43% chance of winning. I'm not sure that I saw something to warrant that, and actually, that could be a case of MIT was better than I expected MIT to be.
Okay.
Um, I'm not sure they have it solved how they're going to get their goals.
Okay.
So,
So that draw then really plays out at
yeah,
48%.
correct. Yeah, and
So
they're at Williams, right?
they're at
Williams
Williams, yeah,
second.
and only
Yeah,
9%. I mean, that's a little bit of an indictment on
yeah,
Williams and their ability to win a home game.
yeah.
Uh, but
I
I
don't
think
know
Tufts is the better team.
uh, that I
I don't know by how
agree.
much. I don't know by how
Yeah,
much, but
yeah. The only the only thing about, and I've said this going 2 years, and I mean, like I said, take a lot of heat for it, but sometimes I wonder, like, and they took care of Wheaton, but I watch them and I'm like, where are you gonna? Are you hoping for a 0-0 draw? Because I'm not sure that they have that final third again, sort of
right,
figured
right,
out where
right.
they're getting goals. I'm sure they obviously can score, so maybe it's something different. And I didn't watch the game against Wheaton, but this one I'll watch just because both teams sort of seem to me like maybe they're in the same boat a little bit, right? Where defensively, you're like, yeah, I think Williams is probably defensively better just because of how they're organized every year. But where are they going to get the goals from? Either Tufts
Right.
or Williams.
Right.
So
That's why I think the draw is a good. That's why I say this is
yeah,
fair. I think. I mean,
yeah,
9% Williams is, like I say, a little bit insulting, but I think
yeah,
the fact that 50% of us are saying draw, I think is fair. I think
yeah. That's yeah. Agreed.
that's
Agreed.
not unrealistic.
That's
That's not
not unreal.
unrealistic.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Next one.
Next. Well, let's stay in the
This one's
NESCAC.
surprising too. I think this is a little
I am
surprising as well.
shocked. shocked.
Connecticut, Amherst.
I'm shocked at this one. This one shocked me.
Amherst is home. 61% win. Draw 28%. Con 11.
They must know who the referee is already, which is why they're coming. Did I say that? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's so bad. It's so bad. Well, 11% for Con. So basically, everybody's saying you can't win. You can't win this game.
Yeah.
And again, maybe you'll get a top.
Margin of error type thing. Like, yeah,
right.
You're either within a margin of error to get something, or you have zero chance. Yeah,
right.
I think that's your.
Yeah.
And this surprises me. And I'm not gonna like Amherst. I think I watched 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, Amherst's gonna run the field against. I think they played Summit or Suffolk Summit. Can't remember.
Suffolk.
Yeah. Connecticut is good.
Yeah. Again, this is one where the 60% win chance I think is high. Just like I thought at F&M, 80% is high.
Yeah.
I thought Hopkins at 50% is high. I think Amherst at 61 is high. I would have, again, this is something I would have thought would be a little bit more heavy in the draw.
Draw side, absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
This is what, and you know what? Like, if Con is smart, if Coach Burke, like, they should change at the hotel, drive to the field so that they have an hour to warm up and not go into the locker room, because I hear there's a lot of craziness that happens, and not be impacted by all that stuff that you go through. But they're good. Like, their ball rolls. Against the Merchant Marine, there were stretches where you're like, Merchant Marine was just, and Merchant Marine, respectfully, right?
Right.
But they just could not. They were just playing. It was like a game of keep away, and they just looked so good. So,
Again, this is surprising.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how this plays out, as I am with all of them, but this one especially because of the disparity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Next NESCAC, last NESCAC for the weekend for the pool. Hamilton at Middlebury. Middlebury 80%.
Margin of error.
Draw 13. Hamilton 7.
So no chance.
No chance. And so this one I'm okay with. Until we know what Hamilton is.
Correct. It's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're bringing.
Right. I mean, until we actually get a good handle on what Hamilton is, you got to go with Middlebury.
Yeah.
Those who maybe know something about Hamilton or have an affinity for Hamilton, maybe give them the draw. But this is a Middlebury. This is Middlebury's game to lose.
Yeah, that I agree with. So they lost to Oswego as well. Like
Hamilton.
Yeah, they lost to Oswego on Tuesday. So this is a legit number. Like I said, you want to argue about should it be close? Should it be a tie versus because it's just a typical NESCAC game? Okay, I can sort of understand that. But in terms of who, I think they're much more outright of a winner than Hamilton. Again, not knowing because I don't know what Hamilton brings, and so.
And I think this is one of those games where let's just go with that Middlebury does win, and it's fairly convincing for him. This is where the pool comes into play. What was your score? Was it 3-0? Was it 2-0? Was it 1-0? Was it 2-1? And this is where you're going to get those points.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the scores here, and there's a lot of 3 goals for Middlebury in this one. A lot of 3 goals for Middlebury.
I can see. The funny thing is that that's not outside of the realm of possibility for Middlebury. Right. I'm like, a high-scoring Amherst, Connecticut game doesn't strike me as true. 3 goals by Middlebury against Hamilton, I can totally buy into that.
Right.
Like it wouldn't shock me if it was a 3-1 score, or a 3-0. Like, I could totally see that.
But it also wouldn't shock me if it was 1-0 in the 80th minute.
80th minute, totally, and it just becomes a typical NESCAC.
Right. Right.
no one's going to lose. No one's
Right.
going to, right? They're not going to
Yeah.
make mistakes, and they're just going to
That's
be,
that's
it's
the
conservative.
appeal to me of the
Yeah.
NESCAC is you
Yeah.
never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my take on that.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Calvin ONU, Ohio Northern Calvin 45%, ONU 33%, and a draw at 22.
Yeah.
So
This,
this is a pick 'em. 45, 33,
yeah.
22.
Yeah. I think they underappreciate Ohio Northern. I
A
think
little
Ohio
bit.
Northern is good. I think it's very good.
They are, and they certainly have a chance, but
Yeah.
it's Calvin. Calvin is very good
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think a draw is a good call on this one.
Yeah.
I think a 1 goal game either way is also potential.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have too many head scratching moments looking at this
No.
these picks here for this
Yeah.
game.
Um, yeah, and it's not much to say. Lake Forest and Latorno for Calvin. Ohio
Right.
Northern's sort of been going through a gauntlet already, right? They lost to Kenyon which was a great game, 3-2. Yeah. So that's an interesting. I'll reserve judgment. I'll be that Monday morning quarterback on this one when if
Yeah. Right.
Ohio Northern wins. Like, how could people total? I said it. Like I knew this was gonna happen.
I knew they were better.
Yeah, I knew they were better.
Funny.
All right.
Oh, next
There's
one.
another one.
Hope Ohio Wesleyan. Ohio Wesleyan 76%. A draw at 17 and Hope at 7.
Margin of error.
Yeah, so Hope's got no chance.
No chance.
I don't know. I mean, Hope's not your traditional powerhouse, but
Yeah.
they're usually very good.
Yep.
They can give Ohio Wesleyan a game.
Yeah.
But is this the the Ohio Wesleyan that's on the J. Martin Farewell Tour
Yeah.
and therefore is going to hammer everybody?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They play. So just so you know, I'm looking at Hope plays. They have to get through Ohio Northern on Friday, so they're playing in Ada, which is a lovely place in the cornfields. And then the next day, Saturday, they play Ohio Wesleyan. So
Yeah. This is the Friday Saturday
yeah,
Adidas
yeah,
Classic,
yep,
whatever it is. Which
yeah,
I think my comment the other day was, who's got more depth?
yeah,
Because you're playing 2 days in a
yeah,
row
yeah.
and you're playing two very good
Very good teams,
competitive
right?
games in a row.
Correct.
You don't get a cupcake one day and
No.
then the real
Yep.
game the next day.
Yeah, that I agree with.
So,
I
but
would have thought that people would give Hope a little bit more of a shot.
I
Even
guess,
on
but
the
at what expense?
yeah,
At Ohio Wesleyan's
yeah.
expense or at the draw expense?
I would have. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, where do you find that? And
Right.
again, Ohio Wesleyan has been showing very well so far. So
Yeah. Yeah, again, this is one I'm okay with. I mean,
yeah,
it's a little, well, it's very lopsided, but you know what? Until Hope shows me otherwise, or
yeah,
Ohio Wesleyan shows me they're not as good as they are, then I'm okay with this.
yeah. All right.
All right, New York.
Yeah.
Let's go to New
This
York.
one does not surprise me.
St. Lawrence Oneonta. St. Lawrence 100%. Everybody's got St. Lawrence winning. Oneonta 65. Draw 22. St. Lawrence 13.
Yeah. I'd actually even go this
Okay.
one. I would be like, I'd give even. I hate the
even more.
Even more to Oneonta.
Yeah.
Less of a chance of a draw. I don't think St. Lawrence looked remotely to what they're capable of when they played Cortland. Again, lack of ideas. I don't know what the rationale, how to describe it, but you just could tell they just couldn't organize themselves to get anything on the attack. And I think Oneonta, if anything does, they just sort of they get forward quickly and at a breakneck speed. So I don't think I have a sense that St. Lawrence can pull anything off of here. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Although I would think that Oneonta has a better chance of winning than F&M does against Rowan.
Oneonta has a better chance of winning than F&M does.
Right.
Agreed. Totally agree with you there. I think
F&M's at 80%,
yes,
and Oneonta's at 65.
Yeah, I think absolutely correct. I think there's a greater chance Oneonta wins this game than F&M does against Rowan, or beats Rowan.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
percentage-wise.
Yeah. So, well, sorry to our friends in New York, but we'll see.
Come on, St. Lawrence.
Come on, St. Lawrence.
This team's
Saints.
like
Go Saints.
This team's like the 2011 team where they started out slow, and then Joe Smith took control of the midfield.
And then we had a freshman who didn't get any minutes in the first 3 games, but then found his way onto the field because of an injury that always happens at Oneonta. And we got him on the field, and lightning in a bottle.
Look what happened. Totally changed the season in one move. Oh,
again, I think this is, this is not the end of the world. I mean, right now St. Lawrence is playing for the conference, and this is. I think that one of the guys on the board said, avoid injury and let's go. Continue on.
Absolutely. I don't think this tells me doesn't tell me, but I think I think Oneonta wants to keep. Again, I go back to I think they're one of the teams that looks down the road and sees Cortland and is like, how do we keep? Wants to keep pace with Cortland for a whole host of reasons, and then St. Lawrence. I think it is about. Hey, we just gotta get through sort of, and I think Toshak does that quite a bit. I noticed like those early games, the non-schedule, non-conference schedule. There's a lot of like jiggering and trying and testing, and because his focus ends up being on the conference. So I think that's legit, and whatever happens here. I think he's going to keep doing that, and then once the conference comes around, you'll see a difference.
Right? Yeah. This game's a non-issue. It's an interesting game just because of the St. Lawrence, impact that I really wanted to see this one.
Yeah.
So,
all right. The last one.
Before I get to the last game, I didn't want to forget. My shout out this week. I gave the shout out to John Thomas Buckley the other day for his Duke goal. Money Aramitha Drew. 400 wins.
Yeah.
That's a great milestone. Good for him. I know Lenny, nice guy, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah. You know what? You don't realize again. It takes like this thing to, because I don't dive into stats that I wouldn't otherwise care about. Like the guy's like the 7th winningest coach.
Yeah.
His win percentage is like 7. Yeah. Right. He's 7 out of 10
like 720 or something. The career win percentage.
Just crazy. That's crazy level.
Yeah. I mean, Drew's a team that every year we'll call it 15-5.
Yep.
And unfortunately they don't have a great out of conference schedule, so they don't appeal to the larger audience, and they have to win the landmark to get a bid.
Yeah.
But they put together a couple really good seasons. They went to the national final at this point, almost 20 years ago, I guess.
And what's really cool, and I really do appreciate. I don't think he cuts. Like I don't think he makes cuts. Like if you're going to come out for a team and you're going to train, and so they always have like this massive roster, which I think is like I said, if he's going to bring in kids and you're going to make the commitment, he'll make the commitment for you as well.
Right.
Which I think is noble, and especially these days where.
So maybe we'll get them on the pool one day. They did his 400th win just yesterday, day before, whatever it was, against Western Connecticut, which is usually a decent team.
Decent team.
Yeah. So good for him. Congratulations to Lenny Aramitha Drew. Last game, Swarthmore Caltech.
Surprise!
Uh,
I'm surprised at
are you
this one.
surprised? Are you surprised?
I mean, emotionally, I'm not. Like, I'm like, good on you, Caltech. Like, when was the last time you picked Caltech as a favorite? You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, Caltech 56%,
yeah,
Swarthmore 24, a draw
yeah,
20.
20.
So my question with this one is, how much of these results are influenced by Swarthmore having to fly across the country and play
Correct,
Oxy the day
correct.
before? Like if this game were in Philly,
Different.
are we
Yeah.
are
Are we
we are we
flipping the
flipping are we
numbers?
flipping it? Is it
Numbers,
56
absolutely,
Swarthmore, 24 Caltech?
absolutely,
You
absolutely.
know,
That I agree with. Yeah.
so
Is this a case of they're going to have a lot of miles on their legs by the time they show up to Caltech to play?
right,
I
right.
totally agree with that.
So
And it'll be interesting. I think Oxy's tonight, right? Like a cat,
yeah,
like
right, yeah,
so.
Friday, yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'll see if I can watch that. I might. I'm trying to get up to Montclair to see the Montclair Milwaukee School of Engineering game.
Is that tonight?
That's tonight.
All right.
So if I do, but I'll probably watch this on recording. But I'll be interested to see Swarthmore Oxy
Mm-hmm.
because I think Oxy is again same thing. They are looking pretty like they're just
Yeah, and Oxy is one of
continuing
those
on.
teams I want to get in here too. There's
Yeah.
teams that I'm following that I kind of have notes
Yep.
on of, okay, let's see where this season goes and let's
Yeah.
see
Yep.
when's a good game to put them in.
Yep.
Oxy's one of them. Vassar's one of them.
Yep.
You know, I'm
Vassar.
curious. I'm curious about
telling you,
Vassar.
year 3 of this year
Right.
3 of this rebuild, and they might be hitting it their stride now.
Yeah. So I'm curious about them. So I'm keeping an eye on what they're doing and who they're playing. So those are our picks this week.
All right, and Cookie's
stuff.
taken care of.
Hey, Cookies.
So while we have 46 participants, it's really 45. I don't think we have to worry about Cookie.
We don't have to worry about Cookie anymore? Okay.
Um,
Fair enough.
Anyhow, I'm gonna get an email from Cookie. I gotta at some point by the end of the season, be like, Cook, I'm a nice guy. Why
Why picking on me? Why are you picking
anyhow,
on me?
Anyhow, all right.
All right, good.
Eric, EJ,
So
this is fantastic as always. We'll
chat again next week.
We'll
right?
chat again
Talk
next week.
about results and
Yeah.
give you the next poll.
Okay. All right. Sounds
All
good.
right, good. Good luck.
Thanks.
Take care.